Hey everybody, it's Mike and Cory, and we're back for episode 4 of the Long Island Gamers podcast, settling down here to talk about some games and whatever else is going on. Looking forward to diving into a few things today, but first, as we always do, I'm Mike. Cory, what are you playing right now?
What am I playing? That's not even a question.
Absolutely.
It is all about Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and nothing else.
Nothing else, nothing at all.
No, as of right now, no.
Okay, so how are you doing in that so far?
Straight killing it when I play.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking to the best right now.
I got you. Prestige update, where are you at?
I am Prestige 1 right now because school, I sadly can't play that much.
Right.
But either by today or tomorrow, I should hit Prestige 2.
Right. Okay. I know we recorded last month's podcast right before the game came out. So far, living up to your expectations. Kind of want to talk about your thoughts so far, finally getting in it, having it for about a month now.
Yeah. So game great. I mean, it's already better than World War II. So whatever. But I want to talk about the specialists because as you don't play, you don't probably know what the specialists are. I would expect that like you've heard of specialists or something.
Yeah, I kind of have an idea of the concept. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there's the Ruin, which every specialist has a special issue equipment or a special issue weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Now the weapon is the basically the one that you strive to get.
Right.
The equipment you get more often, depending on which specialist you use. You can get them a lot quicker. But the weaponry one it takes a lot longer to get. You'll get it in one game. Maybe if you get like 2, but most of the time not really.
Right.
So first is Ruin. It has a grappling gun and a gravity slam. So if you're good enough, you could most people can use it where they use the grappling gun, jump up, and use the gravity slam. Only one go. Right. Which is actually pretty cool. And just doing it do it all the time. So then we got the Seraph, which has a tac deploy, which is basically a deployable beacon.
Mm-hmm. So
you could deploy there, and then an Annihilator, which is a pistol, but if it's a one hit kill.
Right.
So then we got the Firebreak, which has a reactor core, which is basically like Heatwave in Black Ops 3, but not really because it acts like Heatwave as in where there's like a wave, but it damages you over like time if you're close to it. And then there's a Purifier, which is a flamethrower, which they actually did in the last patch. They buffed it, which because the Purifier was weak. It was like if you're getting hit with flames, you should die. But they made it to the point where if you get hit with the flames, you're basically dead. Mm-hmm. There's no surviving it. And then my favorite one is Battery, which has a cluster grenade, which is a regular grenade, and then I think like 6 smaller grenades come out of that. And right. So and then the War Machine, which is a grenade launcher. Mm-hmm. Then we got the Recon, which is a sensor dart. You shoot it out, and there's a small range where it's a UAV. And then you got the Vision Pulse, which is very useful. Then we go to Torque, which is by far one of the worst ones ever.
Why
you got
is that?
A Razor Wire, which damages and slows enemies that attempt to cross it. Mm-hmm. So stupid because you could knock out one area where you don't go to it. And then you got the Barricade, which is a reinforced cover for protection while securing objects. Built-in microwave field slows and damages enemies. Now, I've seen it to the point where it was a search and destroy match. It went viral. It was 5v5 search and destroy. A guy put a razor wire down and a barricade after playing the bomb. And the other guy killed him. And there's nobody else alive on the map, but he can't take down the barricade or the razor wire in time to defuse the bomb.
Right.
Absolutely stupid. My opinion, it's just I don't like it. If anything, just give him a barricade or give him a razor wire. I don't think that it should have both, but whatever. It's already in the game. Then we have Crash, which to be honest its equipment is assault pack, which supplies ammo, whatever, and then provides bonus score for taking down enemies.
Right.
Then it has a TAC 5, which heals and boosts max health, which you go from 150 health to 200, and that's to your entire team. Another specialist I don't like is Ajax, just because it's really annoying to play against. You got a 9 bang in it, and if that flashes you, you're done.
Right.
There's no way. You're dead. Just basically say you're dead. You could shoot, but you're just spraying and praying, as I say. And then a ballistic shield. But yeah, you give him a ballistic shield. Oh, okay, whatever. Now put that into with a machine pistol. So if you go up against it, you're dead because it has a machine pistol and you can't shoot down the ballistic shield. Other shields, other shields in other games, it was a lot easier to get around it because obviously it didn't have a machine pistol in it. Now you did.
Right.
Now you do what I mean. Then you got Nomad, which has a mesh mine, which is an explosive traps that connect to create lethal trap wires. So if you cross it, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a claymore if you wanna, or bouncing Betty essentially. And then it has a canine unit, which is basically just a attack dog.
Right.
And the last one is a prophet, which I did take a clip before this video of me using the Tempest, which is the weapon. But before that, there's the Seeker shock mine, which you basically just deploy a shock mine, and it goes to the nearest enemy and paralyzes them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, the Tempest, which is a tactical rifle that shoots electrical charged shock rounds that incapacitate.
Incapacitates.
Yeah, there you go. Enemies and any squad mates within their proximity. I did put a nice video up. Create a nice video with it. But so yeah, that's all them. Like I did talk about the Torque, how I don't like the razor wire and the barricade. I did talk about the Ajax with the 9 bang and the ballistic shield, which I don't like. The Seraph, I don't like the tac deploy, just because if you're playing hardpoint, you're playing what else? You're playing domination. You're playing control. I don't know. You could just set up to a point where you're, I don't like that. Like, let's try to spawn trap them. Bam, put it here. Or spawn kill them. Bam, let's put it here. And we keep spawning where they're gonna spawn. It's like something like that. I don't like that.
Right.
The reactor core in the purifier, I don't mind them. The only thing that's really annoying is somebody uses that and you can't heal now because you're burned.
Right.
So I don't like. But other than that, game's great. Guns are great. I mean, of the guns that are good, the ICR, the Maddox, the SOG are all good.
Right.
Other than that, they're really not that good. And you know my frustrations trying to go for dark matter and getting all these headshots. I'm having a blast.
Well, I know that's like one thing you really get into when it comes to Call of Duty is kind of going for those completionist style things and things like that. I was going to ask, in terms of the single player side of things, have you even really looked at that? I know it's a little different this go around. It's not really a story, more like these kind of like mini episodic kind of things. Have you dabbled in that at all?
Yeah, I actually did 2 days ago. I didn't even see it. Like, I didn't even notice it. And then 2 days ago, I don't even know if it's new or whatever, but I was like, oh, let's see what this is. And it does have like a good story. I completed for the battery because I was like, I wanted to check it out. And it does have a good story. I would like to continue to do it. I mean, it doesn't take it does take a lot because you have to play all 10 specialists, find out all the stories. So it would take forever. Like, it's gonna take forever. But like, I don't know. I think it would be worth it to see what the story is. So far, what I've seen, it does look good. Yeah, I will eventually finish it. Just with time.
I was just curious because, again, like I said, we're going to a Call of Duty where they kind of put the story mode, which, to be fair, not as many people. I feel like, in my opinion, more people are coming to play the multiplayer than the story mode when it comes to a Call of Duty game. They've kind of put their efforts more toward the multiplayer side and I guess the blackout mode as well. And I know you're more focused on, I guess, the traditional multiplayer, but have you done anything with blackout mode so far?
I actually just did. like today.
Oh, a month later.
Well, yeah, but yeah. Well, basically with school, I haven't really been able to play much. So when I did play, I just wanted to jump right into the multiplayer. I just didn't jump into anything else. So I captured a couple clips today, and what I like though is like you go on Twitch, and Call of Duty is right there on top. Like I'm not, Fortnite's still number one, but Call of Duty's right there.
Right.
And what I notice is every single day when I jump onto Twitch, I notice Shroud with 40,000 viewers playing Blackout every single day. Like, Dr. Disrespect too with over 20,000 viewers every single day. It's like cool that Call of Duty's actually on top again, For a while it wasn't there. So now that it is, it's nice. I mean, it brings more people into playing. Like all the pros say, they do all their scrims, and then after the end of the night, they go and jump in Blackout. It just keeps them to keep playing. Right. So I can see what they're talking about, because I did jump into Blackout, and it is very fun. I mean, as a Call of Duty lover, it's a biased opinion on me, but it actually, they did do a really, really good job, and I like it. I mean, and at TwitchCon on October 27th, you had the Doritos Bowl, which was 4 captains, and they got to pick their 3 teammates in a Call of Duty Blackout tournament, which for $250. So to be honest, that's pretty
$250,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what a lackluster tournament.
No, just $250. Man. I mean, these big name people.
That barely covers the hotel room to go to TwitchCon.
Yeah. So it consisted of Ninja, Shroud, Courage, and Dr. Lupo. 4 huge Twitch streamers, and they got to pick their 3 teammates. So it consisted of 4 1-hour heats, and by the end of it, whoever got the most points wins. This little tournament type thing, not tournament, it was like a fall skirmish in Fortnite, which they did have at TwitchCon. But this thing that was for Blackout was the first ever thing like this ever, which I do believe Doritos will be doing more. I hope so, because I found it fun to watch. But it was so packed out that since it lasted for 4 hours, people are standing in the back with no chairs because they were all packed out for 4 hours. I mean, the fact that you had an audience wanting to do that just shows that it's actually fun to watch. It's fun to play. It's interesting and it's different. You bring in a different style than all the other ones. I mean, don't get me wrong. PUBG is the closest to it, but it's a lot different.
Right.
I don't know. It's different. I like it. It's better than the story mode. Or don't get me wrong, the story modes were good and all, but it didn't bring people over. Now this brings people over, and it gets more viewership onto Call of Duty. Makes more people want to play Call of Duty. Makes more people want to just see what it's about. So to add that, it's nice to see Call of Duty on top of Twitch again.
Right. Well, it's always awesome to see a game like this seem to be fairly well received. I mean, there has been a lot of talk about people having their own thoughts on the, I guess, black market side of things. And as an outsider, I guess it would help to be more informed about kind of what that situation is, because in my view, it seems very similar to what Fortnite's doing. But I do see the other side of that issue where people are feeling like having to pay for these costumes or these skins and things like that come around for only a certain period of time before they rotate out on a game that already costs $60 could be a point of contention. So I kind of see both sides, but I also see the perspective of these items are purely cosmetic and things like that. So that's been I feel like of the headlines that have come out from Call of Duty, that's been the big talker of late. I don't know what you've seen, considering you follow the scene more, but as a casual outsider, that's kind of what I've been hearing about more. Not really the game being a true issue. I know we had you might be able to talk about that a little bit too, the concerns about, I guess, how the competitive side of things might work with some of these new features and stuff like that. But I feel like those have been the only 2 things really. I haven't heard like major issues mechanically with Call of Duty so far, at least this version.
Well, some people just need to relax, because nobody's over here butthurt about Fortnite doing the same exact thing. And on Fortnite, you don't get them for free. You have to buy them.
Right.
So I don't see what a problem is. If Fortnite is doing it to the point you have to, pay for it, then why getting something for free? Are you really complaining? And it's just like, you don't have the money. Cool, grind out the game. What's the problem?
I think there's that there's that. The argument from that side of it is the amount of time it goes to that time versus money thing. The amount of time it would take is in most people's eyes in this argument absurd and really over the top, and it's done in such a way that making it such a high, I guess, level in terms of grind incentivize people just to spend the money to get it. And like I said, I think the true argument comes when people say Fortnite does it, is people argue, well, Fortnite is a free to play game. You don't have to necessarily buy, I guess you don't have to buy the costumes themselves. You can do the battle pass and all that. And they have it so in Fortnite, you can, as you play the game and complete certain challenges, you actually work toward, I guess, paying for the battle pass for the next season, which I don't think is a thing in this game. But again, this is all new to me, and it's an interesting situation because again, you have these companies trying to dabble into the, I guess, free to play model using the battle royale format. So everyone's trying to put their own spin on it. And now I think the reason why this is getting so much attention is because Call of Duty is probably the number one first-person shooter on the market. And them doing this, everyone's seeing it as a cash grab. But while I don't agree with microtransactions, I am glad that it's not as pervasive as, say, what's the game? Star Wars Battlefront 2, where the marketplace is essentially a place for you to go get things that enhance your abilities in the game. Now, they eventually modified it and changed that system, but at the beginning, that's what it was. So in this case, while I get the perspective of people want to have the latest skins and things like that, and the latest, those latest items, it's still cosmetic, and it's not presenting an advantage in the game in terms of gameplay, in terms of making someone be better at the game or giving them an advantage over someone who doesn't have it. It's purely cosmetic. So in my view, as my own consumer, that's optional and it goes out of my mind. So that's kind of my view on it. Again, people could think I'm being ignorant or whatever, but if it's if the things that are being sold provide a, I guess, boost to gameplay that is either only available or requires an excessive amount of grind to get to for the same boosts or whatever, that's a problem. That shouldn't be a thing, because then you're paying to be better in the game. When it's cosmetic, I feel it's a little better just to say, well, this is optional. It does not require, I'm not required to have these items. I still can use these features. I can still play this character without this skin and have no difference in my gameplay. That's kind of my view. And I've said that for different games that have had this kind of similar thing come up.
I'm just going to be very blunt and straightforward with this. Yeah, Fortnite has, where you could basically, if you get to 100 or whatever, tier 100, you can now pay for your next battle pass. But those all in the battle pass, everybody can get if they buy the battle pass. Now, you have all of these new costumes coming out, like, every week. Like, they just have, right now, they have the NFL costumes out right now. You have to pay for those. You don't get those for free.
Right.
You can't get them for free. There's no way to get them for free. You have to pay for them. Unless you got enough tokens or whatever they're called. I don't know. I don't remember what they're called. But if you have enough because of the battle pass, you can pay for, you can get them for free.
You're talking about the V-Bucks?
But then you can't get the battle pass for free. So, it's like, what do you want? Do you want that or that? So, Call of Duty has a thing where it's the same exact thing for Fortnite. You don't have to pay for a battle pass. You get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You have 200 tiers. You don't have to pay a dime. All you have to do is just grind out the game. I don't see the problem. There's a cosmetic thing that has nothing to do that makes you a better player. Because you get a skin doesn't make you an actual better player.
Right.
You can grind out 100 hours of Call of Duty, get to tier 200. I don't know how long it takes, whatever. But right now it is November 10th at 1:49 p.m. Actually, it's not even 1:49. My computer's wrong. It is 1:55 p.m. Right now it is
way to
double
date this
XP.
podcast, by the way.
Yeah, it is double XP for blackout market, right? For the black market right now. If you don't want to spend money, go grind out the game right now. If you can't grind the game, well, sadly, you're not going to get the stuff. I don't know what to tell you. But that's just me being blunt, because you're going to complain for something for free. Wow. I mean, come on, guys. You got something handed to you right there.
I just think it's a really interesting situation we're in, because I think these companies are in a position where they're trying to figure out what the balance is of the consumer outrage that comes from microtransactions, which, again, rightfully so. Some microtransactions are just predatory, which I don't agree with the EA loot box. I do not agree with it at all. But then there are ones like this where, yes, they are putting I would say it's a tall order to try and grind for a lot of things that I guess you could get in Call of Duty and in other games too. But then they put that incentive there of, or you could buy this, and here you go. Again, for me as a gamer, I'm not speaking for everyone. I look at it from my perspective. If it's something that is going to, again, provide you that advantage that someone else who may not make this purchase has, that's where the problem lies. If it's a situation where it is purely cosmetic or it does nothing to alter the gameplay experience, either up or down, I understand this is the business model we're in now. I get people who are like, well, we need to get rid of loot boxes completely. We need to get rid of all these in-game purchases and all this. It's like, unfortunately, a lot of these companies are publicly traded. Their goal is to make money for their shareholders. And these transactions make money for their shareholders. So I highly doubt that they're going anywhere. And I mean, people can give me shit for that view, but it's completely blunt. I'm just being direct. These companies have to make money for their shareholders. Yes, they're probably making a stupid amount of money that we could argue they shouldn't be doing this, but at the end of the day, a company has to make money and make more money for their shareholders. So I think this is something we have to live with. Now it comes down to how does a company create these in-game purchases in such a way that it does not ruin the experience for the gamer or the consumer in this situation by giving other players a haves and have-not situation of, oh, I spent the money, I have these extra features, but make it so it's a situation where players don't feel like they're being preyed upon to, we have to spend this money to get this item. In this case, from my view, it's still skins. It is skins. Those are optional. I don't see the need to have to stress over having every skin in the black market that comes out or any other game that offers skins and things like that. I don't see the need in it because it doesn't provide any extra boost in terms of it doesn't provide you anything that gives you an advantage. It's just literally aesthetics. That's kind of where I'll leave it. Like that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna wrap it up with, they didn't put this into the game for you to pay for it. They put this into the game because I just think that, they saw that the last 2 years, well, not the last 2 years.
I think they did put it in for people to pay for it.
No,
they wouldn't have structured it that way.
They want to make money. Don't get me wrong. They do want to make money, obviously. But they put it to the point where they put it into the game where you don't have to pay for it. So, like people like me where I don't want to spend money for skins. I'll just grind it out.
Right.
But you look at last year where the camos were absolute shit. There just was nothing good. And so many people complained about World War II where there was no good camo skins, whatever, everything, right?
And even there, we had supply drops, which were just they were slot machines. They would drop in with these crates and they would open up in front of you when we were in the was it headquarters? Is that what it was called? The crates drop down. They open up. You're seeing everyone else open their crates around you and flashing the cards up of what they got in their box. That, I think, is more pervasive. And I didn't like how that was executed. I still feel like this is not as bad as that.
Everybody is getting the same exact thing as long as you grind out the game. But what I'm saying is, the camos were just really bad last year. The skins were, the characters didn't look good. So now that you're actually getting something good, and it's a way that you don't have to spend money, but everybody gets the same thing. Everybody still has something to complain about. It's like, come on, really?
Right.
I'm just wrapping up with that because I don't know. It's just, as Peter Griffin would say, it really grinds my gears.
I'm sure this is going to be a conversation that comes up as we go forward, but it'll be interesting to see how Activision responds to the concerns here, because it's popping up all over YouTube. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, switching things up, while Cory has been playing Call of Duty nonstop, I actually have been, when I've not been racing, playing a couple games on Xbox just here and there that have come out recently. I popped out to GameStop and picked up Soulcalibur 6 late last month. And also picked up Forza Horizon 4 as well through the Game Pass service. And overall, talking about both of them in general terms, they both are very good. And I'll expand upon my thoughts on both of them as we go. I think, Cory, I've talked to you. I've played both games. I think you've kind of heard my thoughts on both of them over time. So I'll kind of start with Soulcalibur, which came out, I want to say, mid-October. And mind you, this is the first Soulcalibur that's come out for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, that generation. We had Soulcalibur 5 back on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and those systems. And in my opinion, that game was just not as good. They changed the characters. It was set in a different time. That was their justification for not having some of the characters that people have gotten used to. And I thought that was it was interesting for them to try something new, but I think it missed the mark. Also, the game was just not really that great. Kind of missed the mark across the board, coming off 4 and really falling off from 3 back on the PlayStation 2 and those systems. So to come back to 6 and to dive into that, I'll start by saying it's nice having the characters that most of us know from the game. I've played Soulcalibur 1. I've played Soulcalibur since 1 back on the Dreamcast. So it's nice seeing some of the characters that I grew up with back in the game. The game plays very well. I feel like maybe I've gotten a little better, or it's just they've made the game easier to come into and get, I guess, have a lower floor for entry for new players. Felt a little easier to be able to get the combos down and things like that. Some characters I'm still not great with. I'm not good with close combat characters. I'm more of a mid to long range kind of guy. There's more to do in this game. There's several different modes. Of course, you have your arcade mode where you're just trying to cruise through and get your best time against about 8 opponents. Trying to think, what are the other modes? Character creation, of course. And if they've added more of this story mode as well, where you create your own custom character and play through a story. I'm kind of doing that off and on. Really something you haven't seen in Soulcalibur since about probably 3, when you had the Chronicle of Souls mode, where you kind of had this, I guess, turn-based strategy plus story plus fighting game mixed up in all in one. So that was pretty fun back on 3. I will say I do have some complaints about the game. My chief one, which I realized while I was capturing some footage for my own channel, I don't know what happened here, but I have the Xbox One S. So I don't have the original Xbox One. I have the one right there in the middle before the X. And the quality of the game in terms of the character models, the environments, looks not the best in my opinion. I don't know if this game was optimized for the one and just every other version has been downgraded to, or I don't want to like using the word downgraded, the textures were not optimized for, say, the S. They were only optimized for the One. I'm sorry, for the Xbox One X. And it really shows when you're looking at stuff like the title screen. Not the title screen, the character select screen when you're about to do a match. And the loading screen, it really shows just really jagged edges around the characters and things like that. I truly do think it's a situation of maybe optimization just doesn't look as good. In terms of gameplay, the gameplay is really nice. It feels good. The combos feel nice. They have some weight to them. I haven't played through all of the game yet. I kind of play it in short bursts, mainly because I do find the game to look a little ugly sometimes, and it's hard to kind of look at. But overall, I think it's a good game. The only thing that is knocking it down, in my opinion, is that look. It just looks kind of... I joke with my friend, and I say, oh, this game is ugly as sin. Well, I kind of feel that way. Like, I say it in a joking way, but I kind of do feel like they could have made this game look a little better, even on the older consoles. I'm sure it looks fantastic on the X, and I'm sure it looks awesome on the PS4 Pro, but when you're looking at S downward, it just, I think Bandai Namco missed the mark there when it came to that experience. And that's the thing that hurt it the most for me. Sorry for rambling there. Sorry for the ramble job on that one. Let's see. And the other game I picked up was Forza. So a couple months ago, back when we did our E3 big podcast, we talked about Xbox Game Pass. I had Game Pass from when I bought my Xbox One S, and I never used it. I almost forgot to use the code, and I finally put the code in and used it for a few months, and I played a couple games here and there and let it run out. Well, they did a Halloween promotional special where you got 3 months for $9.99. So I thought that was a great time to get back in and probably clean off some games I haven't played before. And one of those was Forza Horizon 4. And man, that game is awesome. They did an incredible job with that. And it's literally the kind of juxtaposition of why does this game look so awesome on the Xbox One S, but yet this third-party game looks really bad. Now, I get first-party, third-party, whatever, but there's a contrast there, and you even see the difference when looking at Forza Motorsport 7 compared to Forza Horizon 4. There's just a difference in terms of look. Long story short, the game looks fantastic. It plays really well. This time we're set in Europe, kind of in that European Britain kind of air, kind of feel. A lot of rolling hills, small, quaint cities and towns to drive through. Good car selection. My only issues with the past Horizon game 3, it felt a little disjointed. A lot of things to do, but not really any guidance on where I should be going next, because they kind of gave you the position of, oh, you're in charge of the festival now. This game, it lets you be in charge. You can create your own blueprints, as they call them, create your own events based on whatever place you're running. You can create your own course later in the game, pick the vehicles, blah, blah, blah. But they do give you some guidance toward, okay, you can do all this on your own, but here's what you're working toward. Or you're in this division right now. Here's where you are in that division. Here are some more races. So it feels a little more like I don't want to say linear, because that has a negative connotation, but it's giving you some direction, but also giving you the freedom to do what you want. I've done a lot of races in dirt and cross country where you're just driving through people's backyards and vineyards and crap, and nighttime street racing and stuff like that. And that's been really fun. What's really cool is the fact that they brought in something unique to this game, and that is the seasons aspect. And for most people, I feel like racing gets a negative deal because everyone's like, well, you're just doing the same thing over and over, which that argument can be made for any video game. But in racing, I feel like that's particularly a negative thing because, again, you are doing the same thing, generally on an environment that never changes. Like, it's always the same sunny or cloudy or whatever conditions you're in kind of thing. And then we started bringing in weather, and then we started bringing in day to night. And this game brought in seasons, which everyone thought was kind of a gimmick, and kind of what does that mean? I like the way the seasons format works. It's something fresh. So, yeah, you're driving through the same areas, but each season has its own feel. The road conditions are different. The weather conditions are different. The kind of events you'll have, well, they'll change in terms of like how difficult they are because of the weather conditions and things like that. Overall, I think they did a really good job with this game. I was one of the people who looked at Forza Horizon and said, why are you going to do this turn 10? I don't see, well, not turn 10, Microsoft Game Studios and all them. Why are you going to do this with this property when they first announced Horizon 1 years ago when it was set in Colorado? And I thought it was going to be a bad idea. But 1 was very good. 2, I feel like gets a lot of flack for no reason. I think 2 was very good. A little more laid back, considering it was, I don't want to say it was a launch title. It came out within the year of the Xbox, the first year of the Xbox One. But still, it was a very kind of, I don't want to say tame, but it was a title that was kind of, I can equate it to this. This is perfect. It was very similar to how GTA approaches their games, where their first entry on a new generation of consoles generally takes like a couple of steps back conservatively to figure out exactly what they can do with the power of that system. So if you look at 4 compared to 5 in terms of GTA, you see the progression and difference. Kind of the same here with that game. From 1 to 2 kind of felt like a little bit of a step back. They did some new things, but kind of a step back. And then from 2 to 3 really stepped up things. DLC game went really through the roof. They had some great DLC for 3. And now we're at 4, and they've really done a great job with this title. So I'm going to probably be playing that after we finish recording here today. I'm kind of just hooked on it. A lot of fun things, and I'm not even really scratched the surface on a lot of stuff you can do in that game. So sorry for rambling about that game too, but those are the 2 I'm diving into, trying to get as much as I can get done in those games before Nintendo decides they want to assault my wallet too.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to say about them because I haven't touched those games. But is that all you have for those?
That's all I have. I'll shut up now.
You want to transition to Red Dead? I know you don't really have much to say about it.
I'm going to go ahead and just take your phrase and say I have nothing to say about that game because I haven't touched it at all.
Sounds good. All right. So before the game came out, Mike showed me a tweet. It was Metacritic, and they tweeted out saying one of the most gorgeous, seamless, tootiness games ever made.
Tootiness.
Okay, yeah, however you say it. Ever made, and if you voluntarily miss out on it, you're you're either not a gamer or in a coma. So apparently, me and Mike are not a gamer or in a coma, and
I'm doing both just to really
I guess I'm
really
both,
screw
but
with them.
If you don't know what is it, rudiness and tootiness?
Rudeness, tootiness.
Okay, there you go. I don't know, whatever. If you don't know what that means, because I don't. It means a yeehaw, honky-tonk, redneck form of roughest toughest, usually spoken with a mock southern accent. All right. I had to look that up because I have no idea what that meant. So personally, Mike hasn't either, but we haven't played the game. Looks great though, from what I've seen. I
gotta prioritize things. Like, there's a lot coming out right on top of each other. So
there is a lot.
Like, not to cut across you, but I wanted to make it clear. I have Red Dead Redemption. I have played the game. It is not a game that I'm going to rush to the store to go buy. It is one of those games I'm going to probably buy when it goes on sale eventually, and then pick it up. But that's just me. I just want to make it clear that I'm not opposed to the game because I just don't like Red Dead. It will probably be a game I get later. It's just not a priority right now.
Well, right now there's a lot coming out, so I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we might be in a coma for a decent time.
I'm going to be in a coma for a while. I mean,
yeah.
Nintendo is putting me in a coma. It's not my fault. They're doing it to me.
They're putting you in a money coma.
Money coma. Oh, God. I mean, I've been in that money coma since like 2014 when they released Amiibo. So it wasn't 14. That was like, what year's Amiibo come out? I think it was 14. Yeah. One of the first ones came out in 14. That's when I bought it. And my addiction started.
So, with that being said,
yeah, just one last thing on Red Dead. I got to say this because I'm probably going to get more crap for this because, well, you haven't played the game.
but I do have a couple things to say about it.
Well, maybe when I play the game, I'll feel like it deserves this, but I've played games that have gotten 10s before. I played GTA 5. It got 10s. I played GTA 4. It got 10s. I don't feel like those were 10 games. I don't feel... Because what 10 says is that this game is perfect. It is flawless. There are no flaws in this game at all. And I find that to be probably impossible. Now, one could argue, oh, well, you're just looking for things to find wrong. It's like, no. A 10 says this game is perfect. So if I go buy Red Dead right now, I am getting the perfect gaming experience is what these reviews are saying. I don't know. Maybe I should buy it and find out.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should get out of this damn coma and go to the store and buy it.
There also has... This leads on to what... That exactly leads on to what I was about to say is... Online hasn't even happened yet, and they're still saying it's perfect. Now, whatever. But thanks to Take-Two, I'm just reading this off express.co.uk. Anyway, thanks to Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick, I might have just messed that up. But anyway.
Close enough.
He said, it's way too early to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 online. It hasn't released yet. But then he goes and says it will launch in a public beta towards the end of the month, and Rockstar will have a lot more to say about it. We're not making any current predictions. So then, according to iNews CEO UK, whatever, they say, as with most online experience of this size and scale, there will be evidently be some turbulence at launch, said Rockstar. We look forward to working with an amazing and dedicated community to share ideas, help us fix teething problems, and work with us to develop Red Dead Online into something really fun and innovative. Now,
we all remember the debacle that was GTA Online launching.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and that launch,
I had the worst experience trying to play GTA 5 was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yeah.
On Xbox 360 when it first came out.
Yeah.
It took me like a full day just to be able to... Because every time... And on GTA 5 alone, every time I tried to play it, it kept freezing.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people had that problem too. So that was whatever. But I did read like a tweet earlier on, maybe like last week or something like that, that Rockstar knows there's going to be a lot of problems and hopes that they could fix it quick, but I know it is coming out as a beta, but I don't know. I feel like a company with this caliber should not have that many problems. Well,
I think in Rockstar and Take-Two's defense, I think in this situation you have to err on the side of there will be problems and we need to just be prepared for this to happen, because I read this somewhere and it's a very valid point. You can't really stress test your servers until you just put this stuff out there, because even if you do like a beta and things like that, a beta is, even if it's a public beta, not everyone is, your pool is not going to be probably representative of the true size and scope of what is actually going to be hitting your servers in a given time. The only way they're going to know the true impact of what traffic they're going to see from the Red Dead Online is going to be putting it out there. They can use GTA Online kind of as a barometer of, okay, we can expect maybe this level of traffic during this time period, things like that. Use it as a gauge, but this game is going to probably be unprecedented in terms of turnout for the online side of things, purely because GTA Online already has a reputation of being incredible, having such a great online experience. Yeah, there's griefers, whatever. Every game has that. But if you look at it from a pure product perspective, it's a great experience. So now people are expecting that from this perfect game, this 10 game of Red Dead. So people are going to be flocking to that, especially in the first week or so. Not just reviewers, but a lot of gamers are going to be flocking to that beta, which I guess is what they're hoping for. Maybe the idea of, delaying the online, getting it structured just right, which is totally fine. But also delay the beta so you can get as many copies of that game out there, get people buying it, get people on there playing the game. And then when you release that beta, really hype it up, get the word out, and then maybe be able to adequately get a general idea of what that load is going to be on your networks once you actually roll out the actual game. So I think it's kind of smart on their part to go about it this way. Go about it in a phased approach, use that public beta, hope that you get a significant amount of your install base across platforms to show up, take part in that beta, get true information, and then roll out the final product whenever they decide to roll that out. I'm really intrigued to see what they bring.
You know, Rockstar makes great games and has a huge community ready to play. So, I mean, there is going to be problems.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. You're not going to make a game where it's not going to be at least a problem or something.
Particularly on the online side of things, when you're having to deal, because now you're bringing in elements of internet connections, server loads, things like that. You're bringing in now more factors that go beyond just the game itself. Like the game itself is one thing, but now you're putting the game itself plus other technical factors that can affect the game and its experience.
Yeah, there's no way getting around at least a couple of problems. But unless, I forgot to mention this earlier, you're Call of Duty and you have one of the most best weekends for a game coming out online. I mean, literally, sorry to jump back to Call of Duty, but we forgot it. But I playing that weekend, I crashed maybe twice. Every other Call of Duty, you couldn't play on the first day. You couldn't play on the second day. You know, that's terrible.
Well, it was interesting. I was sitting at my desk one day during the launch, just thinking about it, and I was like, it almost got to the point where I forgot Call of Duty came out because I remember how turbulent last year's launch of World War II was. It was a disaster, frankly. It just, for a game that everyone was highly anticipating with the boots on ground shift and knowing that people were going to be turning out in droves to play and be part of the boots on ground shift, that was a disastrous launch for that game. This launch, I forgot Call of Duty had come out because it was so quiet. Like, the games media kind of did their coverage that first weekend, got the word out, talked about their reviews, and then it kind of just stopped there. So last year it was just every few tweets you'd see Call of Duty servers acting up, people not being able to connect, things like that. This was a complete opposite. It was fascinating, which it's great for the players, great for the company, but great for the players to be able to play the game when it first comes out, launch week.
Yeah, what made it worse was Call of Duty World War II was all over commercials and everything. Celebrities and stuff, and we're all talking about playing it, and then it had one of the worst weekends ever. I think that entire weekend I played for maybe like 2 to 3 hours, and that was me trying to play like the entire weekend, which, you know, was just terrible. Right. And like you said, yeah, I did play Friday when the game came out, and I was like, today is day one. All right, I'm cool with it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's all I have notes for. I don't know. I know you wanted to talk about Nintendo.
Because we gotta look ahead to Nintendo now, because kind of the last couple months have been focused on the kind of multi-platform side of things, where you have lost my train of thought. Where you have Red Dead Redemption, you have my God, we just talked about it, Call of Duty, you have Battlefield 5 coming out. But now, this part of the year is leaning more toward Nintendo and what they're going to bring to the table, because they have 2 big games coming out. One coming out later this month and another one coming out shortly after that one with Pokemon Let's Go and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, kind of just want to dabble in those for a minute. I'll start with the Let's Go Pikachu Eevee side of things. Personally, I am still getting the game. I understand that this game is really appealing more toward I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but attracting newcomers. I think this game will help increase the install base for the Switch, and what that'll do is help get more people on the Switch. So when they release the true Generation 7 game, I want to think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, something like that. I think it's 7 or 8, one of the two. Anyway, when they release that true sequel to Sun and Moon and whatever generation follows after that, that's the goal of this game, is to get people over here, get them acclimated with Pokemon, or bring them back into the Pokemon world, and then get them into the new game that comes out in 2019. I haven't seen anything crazy bad that's like made me go, I don't want to get this game. I get the audience it's pandering toward, which I don't like using the word pandering. I don't mean it in a negative way, but this game has an agenda, which is it wants to re-invoke the feelings that people had when they played Pokemon back in the mid to late 90s. Because again, this game is based on Pokemon Yellow. So they've released some trailers here and there between the last time we recorded and even this week, where they've shown some new things like you'll be able to fight old people from the games like red, blue, and green. They'll be in the game, who you can face off against them, of course. We already know you'll be able to face off against the original gym leaders. And then there are these things called master trainers, where for certain Pokemon, you will be able to battle these individuals and be able to call yourself a master trainer of X Pokemon. So like Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Mew, Pokemon like that. There are a few minor things that have just kind of come about, of course, through the online service. We talked about this last podcast, Nintendo Switch Online. That does apply to this game. So if you want to trade your Pokemon or battle them online with your friends, you have to have the online service to take part in that. So that will not be standalone. I think the only ones who are standalone right now is Fortnite. Overall, the game looks fun. It is not a traditional Pokemon game. I feel like it's not a mainline game. It's one of these kind of side things. I think the most frustrating thing I think people have, like I've seen people talk about online, is the controls, which it seems that you can't use a Pro Controller. At least that's what's being reported. You can't use a Pro Controller with the game right now. You only can use the Joy-Cons or the Pokeball Plus, the attachment that you'll use to catch Pokemon, and then also be able to take it with you to train Pokemon from outside your Let's Go game while you're out and about walking or whatever. Aside from that, I feel people are kind of putting themselves in two camps, where people are like me, who are like, it's Pokemon, I'll just get the game and enjoy it for what it's worth. Then there are other people who are just staunchly against this game, who are like, I refuse to buy Pokemon Let's Go. I will not be buying this game, and to each their own. I think this game, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I'm just going to be straightforward. I don't think this game is directed at players like myself, who have been playing this game for a long time and really haven't left. This is geared toward the Pokemon fan who may have been a fan back in the 90s, maybe left around Generation 2, or even left after Red, Blue, Yellow, and this is a way to get them to come back. And it might work. I mean, you're going into Christmas season. They have a Switch bundle that has Pikachu and Eevee printed on the Switch dock that comes with the game. So, I mean, this is a perfect chance to try and maybe, I guess, how do I put this? Try and carry two demographics of people during the same holiday season. The Switch appeals to the kids because there are great games coming out for that. And of course, you have Smash coming with it, which kind of has universal appeal in terms of, I guess, the adolescent demographics. But also that young adults Pokemon side of things, the ones maybe who have kids, or even the young adults like me who have played Pokemon, but also may have stepped away. Attract them by showing them Pokemon they know, Pokemon they remember, characters they remember, and maybe lure them in to get the Switch. That's your install base, and now you have another Switch in another home that could possibly see one group of games for the kids and then one group of games for the adults in the house. So that's coming out next Friday, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about that and tell you my thoughts on that in the next podcast in December. And I know I'll be doing some recordings of that myself as well. On the other side of it, I think about 2 or 3 weeks after that game launches, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes out. And that game is just stupid, and I hate it. It's so dumb. Sure. I just don't understand what Masahiro Sakurai is doing, but I appreciate all his hard work. So between the last podcast and now, I don't think we've only had one Nintendo Direct, and this last Nintendo Direct kind of just, I guess you can say, wrapped up everything that they want us to know going into this game. I told you that the character count is ridiculous, and it remains ridiculous. It is currently at 74 characters now, and that caps off at 74 when they brought in Ken from Street Fighter and Incineroar from the Pokemon universe. So those are your two kind, I guess, in-game, your final two in-game base Pokemon characters who fill out that rest of that roster of 74 characters. The 75th character is PD Piranha, and you get that through kind of a pre-order bonus kind of thing like that. I didn't quite understand how to get it, but if I understood it properly, it's kind of a pre-order bonus, and I think it's tied to your My Nintendo account as well, so brings it up to 75 characters in this game. Last game had just over 50. So we are now 20 over that. We also found out during the Nintendo Direct on November 1st that there will be fighter packs. And the way these fighter packs will work is it'll have a fighter, it'll have a stage, and a few other things. And we're expecting to have 5 of those. So go ahead and do that math. That's going to bring us to 80 characters. 80 characters in the game once, I guess, those fighter packs are completed. And then roughly 105 stages if each stage is its own unique stage in those fighter packs, not just a variation of maybe a stage that already exists. We got a little more information on how multiplayer is going to work. Of course, just like Pokemon Let's Go and pretty much every other game out there that's not Fortnite on the Switch, you have to have your online account. You have to have Nintendo Switch Online to be able to play online and compete. The multiplayer thing, they kind of explained that they'll be doing. The matchmaking is interesting the way they're doing it. They're going to allow you to set your own rules. So if you want to do certain types of rules for certain matches that you enjoy, you'll be paired up against people who also want to do those matches, which is fine. But if they do admit if someone else doesn't have those rules, then it'll be harder for them to find a match for you. And the other thing they're doing is they're going to try and match up people with other people who are in the same general geographic area as them. So not putting someone who may be in Seattle, Washington against someone who may be in the UK, in London. So trying to get people matched up closer to them, in terms of where they're located to make for better quality matches. Because again, people are mad that we're charging for this, but yet we don't have dedicated servers for Smash. Whatever. So it still seems to be a kind of like peer-to-peer connection. Just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it, sadly. They did, which kind of was weird to me. They mentioned as part of their multiplayer discussion, it'd really help if you guys bought this wired like dongle to plug up to your Switch to be able to hardwire your Switch to your internet connection. It's like putting it back on us to have a good connection when the investment should be made by Nintendo, especially their first party games, particularly a game that they're trying to get on the competitive scene, because everyone still plays Melee for competitive, and they want that. If they want that to be the next competitive game, they need to do something to remedy this online situation. But that made me chuckle. And the other big thing that came out of it was there was this grayed out area in the menus for months now that they really didn't talk about. And we finally got to see what that was. It's basically the story mode, which literally escapes me. World of Light, I want to say it's called. Make sure I have that right. Yes, the story mode is World of Light. And for anyone who watched the Nintendo Direct and watched that cinematic with that awesome song, which I've been playing a lot of, it's very interesting. It does remind me very much of Subspace Emissary from Brawl, but I hope it's not like that. Long story short, it seems that this entity, this force or whatever, comes in and basically reduces all these characters and others to spirits, and the only one who survives was Kirby, and it's now up to Kirby to essentially rescue and restore these characters back to their previous selves. Now, the spirits aspect comes in when it comes to, I guess, the way you can now buff your characters when you battle. These spirits have their own abilities, and then the spirits themselves have other spirits you can associate with them that can provide them buffs, be it more damage, be it certain skills, things like that. What was interesting was for Masahiro Sakurai, he made the comment that it was easier to do the spirits side of things and do it in the World of Light mode, kind of, than doing the traditional trophies, which, Cory, I don't know how much you played Smash, but since Melee, and this could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, since Melee, they've had these like trophies that you can get through just playing the game or doing the little coin operated thing where you get trophies you can look at and they have little bio information about every character, stuff like that. And he mentioned that it was much easier to do these spirits, which have gameplay elements in them, than to do the trophies, which literally just 3D renderings of Nintendo history and some text next to it. So that was very intriguing. I was curious why he said that was easier. But that is a big part of this game, it seems like, these spirits, and they didn't give a number of how many spirits there are. It implied that there are probably hundreds of spirits from all of Nintendo's different properties, from Pokemon. You saw Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, Kid Icarus, all the different brands had some form of spirit at least glimpsed at or seen during the Direct. Looking off the top of my head, thinking the only other thing that came out was the amiibo stuff. They will be doing more amiibos. The first ones I think are Ridley that are coming out, and a few others. I could look here. Next wave of amiibo. Yeah, so at launch, we're going to have Ridley, which I have pre-ordered, the Inkling, and Wolf from Star Fox. Those are going to be available for purchase at launch on December 7th. So a few months later, we're going to see King K. Rool, who's one of our new additions. Ice Climbers will be joining as well, along with a few others later down the line, like Ken, who was recently announced, Young Link, Pichu, and Princess Daisy. For collectors like me, your old amiibo will still work for this coming game. The only question I have is, when it comes to these amiibo figures, and I have most of, if not, I think I have all but like 5 of the Smash Brothers 4 amiibo waves. I have all but Rosalina and some of the Player 2 versions of the others. What I'm curious about is, I noticed some amiibo are being re-released, like Samus. I've seen the original Samus from like wave 1 or 2 of the Smash Bros. 4 stuff be back out there. So I'm curious if they're going to start re-releasing some of the older ones, like Wii Fit Trainer and Link and stuff like that, which pretty much have disappeared from store shelves. So as collectors, I would keep an eye out for that. See if you can get your hands on now, I guess, the 3rd or 4th reprint of some of those original amiibo figures as well. Aside from that, I think this is... Oh, and they, of course, have a Smash bundle as well. Includes a digital copy of the game. Don't hold me to this. I think a Pro controller... a GameCube controller and a special dock for the Switch as well. So now that we have that Direct done, now we're basically just waiting for the launch of the game, which is going to be on December 7th. And I'm very excited. You're going to start off with only 1, 2, 3, 4, I think like 8 characters starting out when you begin your game. So I'm betting, this is speculation, I could be wrong, I suspect that it's going to be very Subspace Emissary similar in this regard, where you need to play through the World of Light to maybe unlock some of these other characters and get them on your main roster. So might be a situation where you guys aren't going to have to be able to play right off the bat. You're going to have to go ahead and grind through the World of Light story mode to get all the characters in the game. So Subspace Emissary Part 2 again. Yay.
I haven't played since Melee, so
okay.
Yeah. But fun fact, number 1, Did you know Petey Piranha was great in Mario Baseball?
I didn't know that.
Well,
but
now you know.
I'm
Fun fact number. Wait, what were you gonna say?
okay. No, go ahead.
And fun fact number 2: if you're not Donkey Kong in any type of Mario game that you could play him in, you're already losing. It's just enough said. Donkey Kong is the ruler of every other character.
Okay. I was just going to say, because thank you for reminding me about Petey Piranha and bringing that back up. I'm glad Petey Piranha, a plant that is in a pot, got in the game before Waluigi did. Good.
Ooh, heated topic. Ooh.
Good. I'm very happy about that.
I guess we could save that for the next podcast. But
no, I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there and let people simmer on that until next month.
That's what I'm saying, in the next podcast.
Yep.
Couple games coming out in November that I know we're going to be talking about in the next podcast, which is November 14th, Fallout 76 comes out. November 16th, like Mike said, was Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee come out. And November 20th, Battlefield 5 come out.
I thought Battlefield 5 came out already. Whoops.
Did it?
No, it didn't. I assumed I heard nothing about it, so I assumed it already came out. Oops.
So those games are going to be coming out. So look forward for that for the next podcast. Obviously there'll be other news that comes in the next month, but
yeah, in terms of news, it's been pretty quiet.
It
after the Telltale stuff, news side of things kind of quieted down. I mean, aside from little things here and there, but definitely right now this is a great time for the gamers because the news of the day is the games, and that's kind of the way it should be right now.
Do you want to plug your other channel by any chance?
I mean, we don't have to, but I guess.
You were talking about it before, so.
Yeah, I have a channel of my own. It's the Soup. I can link to it down there in the description. Just where I go to play random games here and there. When Pokemon Let's Go comes out, I'll be starting a playthrough of that, alongside an ongoing playthrough of Pokemon Soul Silver we got going on. So yeah, I'll just be over there playing random stuff. When Smash comes out, we'll have some maybe online stuff in Smash, or definitely playing through the World of Light mode. Probably do a playthrough of that as well. And yeah, it's just a fun channel where I just lay back and play whatever. And yeah, just go ahead and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description, I guess.
Yep. And to wrap this up, guys, always remember to spread the love and positivity, because it's all we're about. But if you guys could please leave a like, comment, subscribe, it would really help out the channel. And for that, we'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.